Welcome to Chapter 9. First, I'd like to start off by apologizing for not posting these lectures on a more timely basis. As a result of being a bit behind due to travel and a number of other circumstances, I'm reopening up the previous two chapters, posting the lectures and letting you take the exam again. It's only fair to provide you all of the content prior to your exam. And again, I apologize for posting this late. I've been traveling quite a bit to California and really talking about what we're going to review here in this chapter about e-commerce with a number of hotels, and I'll share that information with you as we move forward in the course. But in this chapter, what we'll focus on is e-marketing, or really digital marketing. And in all honesty, it's an evolving field that changes on a regular basis. A lot of the stuff in this chapter is still relevant. However, some of it is no longer up to date, so I'll try to communicate some of the best practices now that's employed. But e-activity marketing is a term coined for this chapter. It really combines the two major components of e-commerce and interactive marketing, essentially. Both activities are vital to an organization's online presence. We have a number of firms that help companies take that next step in social media, in their e-commerce initiatives, really understanding the quantitative and qualitative measures and identifying your KPIs, your key performance indicators, if you will, or your goals, more or less. And it's a world unto itself, a world that I'm familiar with and that I'd like to communicate with you during this time now. So in this chapter, we're going to talk about really what digital marketing is, how there's been a transition, and I put this in air quotes, Web 4.0, because I guess they have certain iterations, in this chapter. But in truth, the internet is constantly evolving. Technology is constantly evolving, and whatever we call it, 0.0 or 4.0 or 2.0, it will continue to evolve. What needs to occur within an organization is the ability to change with user behavior. Just because technology changes doesn't mean consumer behavior will change. Just because consumer behavior has been static over a number of years doesn't mean it won't change with technology. It's really about adopting what is available now. The iPhone and mobile phones have revolutionized e-commerce and also internet marketing. And companies that have fallen behind have suffered as a result of loss of sales and loss of positioning. And we'll identify some of the best practices that can be implemented to stay at the cutting edge. We'll look at what makes e-commerce a crucial part of a business-to-business relationship and really commerce. We'll look at how companies use mobile marketing to reach their customers, what different elements they use, such as social networks, blogging, customer reviews, email marketing, viral marketing, so on and so forth. And really, to start off this chapter, I think it's ideal to indicate that, again, there's a constant evolution when it comes to digital marketing, when it comes to e-commerce, internet marketing, mobile marketing, and what is true in 2013 might not be true in 2014. In 2014, what might be true won't be necessarily true in 2015. And what I mean by that is that as technology continues to advance, as hardware and software offer more options, essentially consumer behavior adapts and changes with those options. In my field, the hospitality industry, they didn't pay attention to search engine optimization. They didn't pay attention to online commerce as they should have. And what has happened in the past 5 to 10 years is that other companies that have paid attention to that, such as your Expedias of the world, such as your Hotels.com, Booking.com, what they have done is jump ahead of companies such as Marriott, companies such as Hyatt, Hilton, in terms of being able to reach the consumer where they are active online. That being when you type in hotels in Atlanta or hotels in Boston, they have been able to position their online assets because they've paid attention to the trends, that being that consumers are starting to purchase hotel rooms online on a more regular basis and look for value instead of necessarily look for brand, and have been able to jump onto the first page of Google. Now, Marriott is doing a great job catching up. Hilton is a little behind. They're on their way. Hyatt is making a full-fledged effort, but nearly don't have the same resources as the larger brands. Starwood has interesting strategies, but essentially they've fallen behind. And all of these individuals, or really these brands, what they're doing is playing catch up to these OTAs, online travel agencies is really what we call them, if you will. And this speaks to what the chapter opens with. That is a discussion of Web 1.0 and the migration to 4.0, which is a new way of communicating and engaging with consumers. Now, the chart they break down here is relatively true. When the internet first started, content was static. It was dominated by institutions and businesses, and it was largely technical and commercial based. And then there was Web 2.0, which is really more social based, and the audience got to generate the content. That's when Facebook started to emerge, MySpace, and things of that nature. Then there's Web 3.0, which is content driven by online metrics, integration of content and communication, instant and real communication. And now we have Web 4.0, which is consumer engagement, cloud operating system, web participation is a necessity. And all of this, and don't get hung up on the terms, but all of this really speaks to evolution, again, of consumer behavior and technology, and the playing field that we now find ourselves in. As a digital marketer, I have more tools in my belt than my predecessors before me. And I'll show you some of the examples that we've utilized. In fact, I'll actually break away now, unscripted, and show you some of the things that we're doing, if you will. If you ever wonder, how can I find the best hotel deal? Typically, you'll find that on the brand's website. However, sometimes you'll find it on OTAs like Expedia. In our world, we really try to maximize what we call occupancy and rate. During slow times of the year, we want to try to generate as much occupancy as possible. And we do that by fluctuating the rate, increasing it or decreasing it, really depending on demand. And in this particular case that I'm showing you, I'm actually opening up the uh, engine and showing you AdWords and a campaign that we're running as a digital marketer. So what you will see is if you type in, say, Carowinds, North Carolina, you might see an ad such as this. Now what you see at the top here is dynamic keywords that are inserted into the ad. So whatever you type in, if it's close to the keywords I've identified, you'll see it bold and on the right hand side. And you'll see an indication that you can save 11% on a hotel room. If you click this ad, what will happen is you'll get pushed to this vanity website, and it'll talk about essentially what you're looking for, and that is a hotel around Carowinds. If you are so inclined, you can click on a link that will take you to our brand page, where you can book a special rate exclusive to Carowinds and this promotion, where you'll get that 11% off, assuming there's availability. And I walk you through this conversion process simply to illustrate my point. That being, as a digital marketer, I have far more tools at my disposal. Now, what I walked you through is a conversion path for a campaign that's specifically targeting a customer segment. That customer segment are individuals who aren't necessarily looking to stay at a Hyatt Place. Because if I spent money on people who are going to stay at a Hyatt Place, I've essentially not leveraged the value out of my marketing dollars. However, if I target brand agnostic consumers who are going to this area, Charlotte, for Carowinds Amusement Park, and they're just looking for a deal for a hotel room, and they see an ad for 11% off. They click into the ad, takes them to the landing page. They like the hotel. They click into the actual hotel itself. They check the rate, and they make a reservation. That is a digital marketing campaign that's targeting a specific consumer segment, and essentially, I've built the right mousetrap to lure consumers that are A, brand agnostic, B, might not have spent time at our hotel otherwise. And I'm doing it through a channel that specifically targets consumer intent. Now, all of this system that I just articulated, this was not available 10 years ago, not to the same extent it is now, and not to the extent that I'm leveraging it now. And what that illustrates, again, is this point that consumer behavior changes over time, and with that, so does the technology that's available, and really how we can capitalize on these advances to really target and segment consumer base that would be attracted to our product line. When we talk about e-commerce, there are click-only operations to bricks and clicks, which is a mix between really services that are acquired inside a facility, but purchases are made online, such as My World, more or less. There's B2C, B2B online commerce, and and a number of different channels, more or less. What might be surprising is online sales now account for nearly 8% of total retail activity. Many consumers research online prior to making an actual purchase. Now, what I showed you in the traffic that we see through that campaign is measured by last click behavior. However, like I had mentioned, sometimes people research online, then pick up the phone and make that purchase. What the digital marketing landscape has become is a tremendous platform to reach a very targeted consumer base and engage that consumer base in ways that we haven't been able to acquire or really achieve before. In this new landscape, there's a very customer-centric design. Like I showed you in that landing page, I'm targeting people who want to go to our hotels because they want to be by Carowinds. Prior to the ability to create these custom landing pages, we would just say, Hyatt Place is a great place to stay, and spray and pray this message. However, now we can target a very specific consumer segment and lure them in. We have the ability to do drill down searches. We have the ability to do channel integration, whether you can engage on their mobile platform or your desktop. Brand engagement is at a new level, with the ability for consumers to contribute to the identity of a brand and shape that brand through their interactions online. Search engine optimization has become a standard. Prior to the explosion of e-commerce, search engine optimization were just for geeks like myself, but now it's become a standard and everybody uses it as a buzzword, and I'll show you the guts and how really that works. Abandoned shopping carts have a tremendous effect on an organization if you can capitalize on marketing to those abandoned shopping carts. And we'll walk through all of these elements as the chapter unfolds. But a high percentage of shoppers place items in their shopping cart, but never really complete this transaction. There's a list of strategies that firms can use to reduce the rate of abandoned shopping cart. They can make the checkout process easier. Instead of having them fill out a dozen forms, you can actually narrow that down. And not that I want to make this lecture exceptionally long, but I could show you areas in our website where we can identify a breakdown in the conversion funnel, excuse me, in the conversion process, more or less. You can make discount coupons where they can enter it at checkout and make that easier, or you can provide a safe checkout procedure. Now with PayPal, almost every procedure that utilizes that services is safe. There is a component within Amazon and also some other large retailers that will actually identify what are in your carts and email you within a certain time period to remind you that it's in your cart and that perhaps you should purchase it. It's called abandoned shopping cart strategy. It's quite effective. Uh, when we talk about how to engage individuals, a lot of it has to do with putting an attractive offer that brings people to your website. And with the ability to target certain segments, um, we can have 3 or 4 campaigns launched at 3 or 4 different segments. And the incentives can vary from value add to discounts to exclusive offers. When we talk about financial incentives, there's a number of things that can take place. Again, you can reduce the price. You can add free shipping. When I used to direct an e-commerce department out in Owatonna, we would offer free shipping for consumers who we met at a trade show, and they would most often purchase after they stop by a booth, drop off their card. They would purchase our product because they knew they can get free shipping. You can do e-coupons. What has to be in place, though, is the incentive has to be meaningful. It has to change periodically. And a strategy we're employing for some of our hotels is, for some of them, we're not offering discounts as much. Rather, what we're doing is we're lowering what we call the bar rate, or really the rate that you find online through our website, and we're pushing that rate out to the OTAs like Expedia, making it more attractive so that we can get more individuals who actually purchase that rack rate. And by so doing, we can essentially drive what we call ADR, average daily rate, because just for simple math purposes, if I sell, say, 2 rooms for $100 a piece, I make $200, right? Say I sell 2 rooms at $200, I would make $400. Uh, but hypothetically speaking, my my occupancy is low, and I need to drive more consumers to purchase hotel rooms. I could either lower my rate to that $100 mark and get 2 rooms, or I can raise my rate to $200 and offer, maybe a 50%, well, not 50, 25% discount on that, which would lower the overall rate. However, it would still be higher than the original $100 rate. And chances are the ability to sell the $100 room is a lot higher, and I could sell more of those. That's the theory that we're trying to implement. Rather than having a high retail rate and then having a number of discounts, we are employing a lower retail rate, fewer discounts, but broader distribution channel so we can get more rooms and drive ADR. That's a new strategy that we're trying to employ. There's a convenience factor to e-commerce, such as the fact that it's available 24 hours. Although, to be honest with you, this is a bit misleading because when I look at the statistics, a lot of purchases actually happen between 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Essentially, people who work at a desk job purchase products during their work hour. And this is consistent across the board for multiple industries. Not that many transactions happen at midnight. However, there's a thought process that the convenience component of it allows for essentially a storefront that's open 24/7. There's value add incentives for consumers, such as personalizing the shopping experience and personalizing the product. Now you can customize things online to an extent that you didn't before, such as ordering the exact color for your iPhone case, or before you were just limited to whatever they had at the store. Some consumers are still leery of purchasing products online for fear of identity theft, which is potentially a $21 billion loss in online sales. In addition to security, individuals are concerned about privacy and selling of personal information. Target got into a um, huge problem with this. In fact, the chief information officer had to resign. White Lodging in my industry got in trouble with this because their credit card database was compromised, and security is becoming an important component of online transactions. Now, in terms of B2B e-commerce, it's critical because consumer behavior in business, the business sector, mirrors consumer behavior in the retail sector, in the sense that a majority of B2B e-commerce is online exchanges and information that takes place between two individuals, even auctions, if you will. These sites allow for bidding material of supplies and connect buyers to sellers, and really accounts for a significant amount of transactions and revenue. There are companies such as Mayo who sign up to buying groups, and purchasing managers purchase their products through this buying group at a negotiated price, and they do it online and they do it on a regular basis. Regarding mobile marketing, smartphones are growing, and the percentage of the population currently using smartphone is right around that 43% mark, and it's growing rapidly. Smartphones are used as social interaction devices to search for product information, as means of shopping. Now your book goes into a bit of depth regarding QR codes becoming an important part of marketing, and really how it allows consumers to access sites via QR codes. But my personal opinion is that I don't like QR codes. I don't think that many people like QR codes. I think it's a hassle. You first have to identify what it is, then you have to download an app, then you have to open that app, scan the QR code, which navigates you to a website, and then you take the action. I actually use a service called Bitlily to manage a lot of that on our end. So instead of a QR code that you scan, what you end up doing is you have these shortened URLs that people type in more or less. And based on the information, I can see which QR, or not QR codes, but Bitlily codes are utilized on a more consistent basis, if you will. I'm not a big fan of QR codes. Regarding different types of marketing, mobile marketing is still at its infancy, although developing. Display and search ads can be used, especially for smartphones that include video, text messaging, and things of that nature. When I was directing the marketing for the Wicked Moose, we used to have a text marketing campaign that would go out almost weekly. And because smartphones have GPS built in them, there's geo-targeting that's available. Going back to our campaign here, when I go back to AdWords and I look at, say, uh, my targeting, what I can do is segment to devices, and I can see that of the 26 engagement that I had, 6 of them came from mobile in the Carowinds platform, and 9 of them came from the Charlotte Hotels campaign, relative to 3 for the Charlotte campaign and 7 for the computers in the Carowinds campaign. There's not a lot of, how do I put it, competition for essentially these mobile devices, and with the ability to target, it becomes that much more important to take advantage of these different platforms. But again, for mobile marketing, there's display ads, search ads, and I guess you can rest assured, guys like me and gals that are in the same role know you guys are using mobile devices and target mobile users because they tend to convert quicker, in the sense that if you get them at the right time, at the right place, they'll more likely make that purchase versus a individual sitting at a desktop who's scouring the internet for a deal or for several different options. Now, what we see here is a graph that provides data on how marketers are using QR codes. You can see a lot of them use it to direct people to videos. A lot of them utilize it for sweepstakes or in social media. I don't think they're really much value because they're not catching on. Maybe if you live in Silicon Valley and you use them heavily, you can operate in that capacity. I know the business to business world probably use them a bit more. I use them when I guess check into Delta, but I still don't see it widely accepted. However, I could be wrong, and I have been in the past. Regarding interactive marketing, it's developing a program that creates two-way communication and really enhance engagement of the consumers with the brand. The internet is an ideal medium for interactive marketing. It can track activity, where a person goes, what they do. It can personalize a message. It can place an emphasis on interactive marketing in a twofold to really target individuals, engage consumers in ways that haven't been achievable in the past. Now, this graph talks about online interactive tactics used by companies. You can see that we still rely on email marketing rather heavily. One, because it's cheap and effective. If you send out 100 emails and 3 of those individuals make a purchase, or actually, let's back that up and make it more realistic. Say you send out 100 emails. Say 10 people open up your email. That's about a 10% open rate, which is about industry average, generally speaking. And say 3 of those people click on the ad. That's about 3% click-through rate. And you spent $100 to get that primed and sent out, and each of the transactions that took place, say maybe 2 out of the 3, was worth an average price point of $100, you made your money and then some. I mean, that's simple math. But when it comes to email marketing, that's what it boils down to, is engaging the consumer, building up your database, segmenting your database based on behavior, and really promoting the stuff that's important to the end user, more or less. We've got a number of other things in this chart, such as search engine marketing, social networks, and things of that nature. Now, this graph speaks to marketing objectives for using interactive marketing. And the reasons really vary widely from brand to brand, from building brand loyalty to building an email list and generating sales to driving people to websites, essentially. The first step in developing interactive marketing strategy is really to cultivate an attitude of giving. To build engagement with customers, businesses must be willing to give something of value to them at little to no cost to that consumer. And the second step is to build the trust by being honest in all dealings. And step 3 is really to identify the one word the brand stands for. Step 4 is to determine the company's ultimate vision and what they want to become. The next step is to choose the communication channel that is used for interaction. And the final step is to evaluate and adjust the strategy accordingly. Now, when we talk about online advertising, it's effective if the ads are placed on the right website and the message resonates with the individual. Budgets for online advertising have been increasing in years and probably will continue to do so. Online advertising represents a highly effective method for reaching today's consumers, especially a younger audience such as yourselves, and really more internet savvy marketers, if you will, or markets, if you will. 4 distinct forms of online advertising exist: display, banner, ads that you can see, classified ads, search ads, media, video ads. And this chart shows the percentage of spend spending on each format, with search advertising composing about half of online dollars. And what that speaks to is really when you type in, say, hotels in Boston, those ads on the right hand side and on the top, that speaks to the search marketing, or really search engine marketing, SEM, PPC, things of that nature. Now, banner advertising is an online advertising form where you actually just see a banner. It accounts for 32% of online advertising and can really leverage the multimedia options by the embedding of videos and widgets. You can target display ads for even on platforms such as YouTube, and as searchers search for wedding campaign or wedding plans, maybe your wedding ad shows to that consumer base. Um, Now, regarding widgets, there are many applications embedded in a banner, and widgets can access external information and personalized information to the individuals actually interacting with them. They can be geo-targeted. We've got classifieds and media video advertising, and that's fairly self-explanatory. Um, so I won't dive into that. We have video marketing, which we won't dive into. We have search engine marketing, and this is where I spend a lot of my time, particularly because long term, this is the lowest cost per conversion channel that a company has. And to kind of walk you through how that works, I'll show you some of the items that I have looked at. So when I go to a hotel, like when I was out in California, all of mostly not last week, but the week before that, um, I would look at different hotels and look at what they're doing for their e-commerce, essentially, where I would identify what keywords they're targeting. So when we talk about search engine marketing, there's a number of elements, such as on-page or off-page elements that you can utilize to market to, or rather optimize, so that you show up for certain keywords. And I won't go into the nuts and bolts, but just to give you a high-level perspective, when we talk about on-page optimization, a component of that is making sure your website is set up so that your keywords are in the right place, so that when somebody searches for your website, it comes up on a regular basis because it's been properly optimized. So in this case, so regarding targeting these keywords, the way it works is when I go to a hotel, I pull up their website and I look at the keywords that they're targeting. So say we go to, let's see here, Hyatt House Cobb Galleria. You go to their website and you can see what they have there as far as what the consumer sees, but really what's important is for what the search engines see. On a website, you can see what they identify as the title tag, or the page title in this case. If you put keywords in here, it tells the search engines what your page is about. If that same keyword appears in your what you call the H1 header and in the text in a fashion that is semantically logical, the search engine will identify your page as being correlated to this search word. So how this breaks down is you've got a hotel that identifies itself as a hotel in Long Beach, if you will. For a search engine to see this website and say, yes, this is a hotel in Long Beach, what it will do is go through an evaluation process. it will look at all the on-page components about this website and try to identify if there's consistency as far as the messaging is concerned, from the title tags to the H1 header to the body content to the images to the consumer behavior, such as how people are getting there and what they're doing there. And then it'll look at all the off-page stuff, such as what other links are being associated with this website, and it'll determine whether or not to rank um, this website for the targeted keyword, more or less, such as a hotel in Long Beach, which is where I was at last week. And what I do is I go in and I look at the keywords that it's identifying, how many people are searching for it in general per month. How hard is it to rank for these keywords relative to the competition, such as are other websites that have strength in the digital marketplace trying to rank for the same keywords? Where is that website currently ranked for that keyword? How long is the title tag? How long is the meta description? So on and so forth. What all of this breaks down to is a methodology that I employ to essentially better optimize search engine optimization. And this slide is a bit outdated because it talks about three methods for SEO. Paid search insertion, which is not really SEO, that's PPC or SEM. There's natural or organic, which is actual search engine optimization. And then they call paid search ads, if you will. But for professionals who call themselves SEO, it's about that organic occurrence, if you will. And depending on the type of business, you can essentially um, employ a set of strategies to rank for that. If you're more interested in this genre, I can articulate with you in more detail the process to employ. But in general, search engine optimization is important for businesses, primarily because it's the lowest cost per conversion. And what I mean by that is if you put the effort and you employ the correct strategy, the cost per conversion is lower because you're going to show up on that first page of Google on a more consistent basis. And as you drive more traffic to your website because of showing up for that first page ranking, every time they buy something, your investment in SEO provides a return, and the cost per conversion continues to be reduced, where the paid search ads will essentially cause you to pay per transaction. So it will continue to grow over time. Now there's offline advertising, and you can go on a number of different avenues. With that, there's social media marketing and social networks. So Facebook is big, Twitter is big. There's advertising that takes place on both of those platforms. You can hyper target ads for Facebook in ways that you can't in Google. There's blogs, and these are really starting to die down a little bit as far as their effect in the SEO world, but they're still fairly popular. There's company-sponsored blogs, and you can see some examples here. Ultimately, what companies have to determine is how can they provide value to the consumer in ways that are effective and also efficient, in the sense that as you generate content to the consumer, they will see you as a trusted source and ultimately engage in some type of commerce down the road with your organization. Uh, there's consumer generated reviews, such as Amazon. Best Buy has implemented a great system. TripAdvisor is the predominant customer generated review platform for our industry. And managing those reviews become a challenge. That's why we've implemented the reputation management systems that I've talked about. Regarding email marketing, it's an important component because you can understand what your consumers are doing based on the emails that you've sent out and change accordingly. Newsletters are kind of a subgenre of email marketing, and you're continuing to drive brand awareness through that platform. Viral marketing is really a message that is passed on to a consumer that causes them to pass it on to another, so on and so forth. It's a form of word of mouth marketing, if you will. In order to be successful, you have to focus on areas that really engage the consumer, and make it personal. Make sure you track the results and really implement the basics that we've talked about. Finally, in this chapter, when we talk about international implications, there are issues such as shipping, communication issues, and technology issues. If you're ever on Amazon and you see an Apple paraphernalia for a much lower price and you can't understand why, and you buy it, and then all of a sudden are informed that it'll show up 3-4 weeks later, it's probably because you bought something from China. And this plays into the international implication component of it. And shipping is becoming cheaper as time continues, so that type of transaction takes place. However, it is another component to be navigated. Well, I hope you found this chapter useful, and I tried to provide you as much anecdotal information as possible. Please feel free to reach out to me should you have any questions. Thanks for your time.